Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 3, Episode 190. I'm a little tired this morning. So, yesterday, I started kind of doing a fast where I was going to drink only water. And so there's a county fair that's going on nearby. So we decided to go. One of my kids was already there with her friends, and so we decided to take most of the rest of the kids who weren't at practice or whatever to the county fair. So we get there and we know everybody there, so we're saying hi to everyone, talking, everything like that, and we go around the back side of it, and my son says, "Oh, they have a watermelon eating contest, we should do it." And I said, okay, let's do it. So they have it for all ages. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and do it. So, and there's a reason for that. The reason is, not last year, but the year before, I entered the watermelon eating contest, and I won. Maybe it was 2 years ago, I don't know. But, and it was a nice prize. So, I decided, okay, let's do it. I said, are there any open spots? They said there's one spot left. I said, okay, so there's a total of 10 people, and they're each given a whole sliced watermelon. So the entire watermelon is sliced, and you have to finish it. And whoever finishes first obviously wins. So everybody lined up, the 10 of us, and we got started, and I am just crushing everybody. And by the time it's over, I look over, and the next closest person still has a quarter of their watermelon left. I crush them all. I take the prize, which was a cash prize, and we leave. So everything is good. We watch the teenagers do it, and then my little one wants to give it a try. So we said, well, they already said that there was a limit of 10 people. There was already 20 kids on the list. So they decided to expand it to 20 people, 10 at a time. So he got in there, and he lost to the cheater next to him, who was basically just spitting everything out as he was eating it. And he was very upset. So the rest of the night, all the way till we got home, until he went to sleep, he was upset, mad at everybody. But what's the moral of the story, or what's the point of the story? The point is, I didn't really do my fast, because although watermelon is water, mostly, there's a lot of sugar in there, so that kind of defeated the purpose. However, today we're going to just continue on, and we're going to have zero food today. We're going to have only bone broth for today and tomorrow. We'll see if we can make that happen at least, and then we'll decide what to do from there. So that's what happened last night, and that's what's going to happen today. Right now, I'm leaving home a little bit later than I like. Right now, it's 65 degrees outside, the sun's up, it's a cloudy day, and I'm heading off to my first casino, hoping for a big day today, and I'll be back to update you after that first stop. Alright guys, I am back. Now it's a really nice day outside. It's 73 degrees, clear skies now. It's beautiful. I mean, I'm many hours away from home, but wow, what a difference from this morning. Looked kind of not so nice. I go into this place knowing that I'm late, knowing that things have already been played out probably. And as soon as I walk in, I see a guy pounding away at a machine. I know exactly what he's doing. And it's not even a good play. So I'm like, maybe he's got some free play. I don't know. He's just, it's close, whatever. So I move on. I go to my first machine. I play that. I'm ahead $89 right away. Check the rest of the place. I'm able to check every machine except for one machine in the back that a guy is on, and a carousel of machines in the front that I always check last. I come around to the front, and this quote AP guy is checking it, so I'm like, it's gonna be gone. So I cash out, and I see him playing one of these machines on this carousel, and I go over to look at what he's playing. He's playing garbage, man, and he's frustrated, and he's getting 100 after 100. So he may or may not know what he's doing. He may have an idea of what he's doing, but not very smart at it. And I can tell you the machine that he's playing was not going to be good. So anyway, right now I'm heading off to the next place. I had a little bit of beef broth on my way over here. It was pretty good, but I'm really not hungry yet, so I only had like a couple ounces of it. But on my way here to the next casino, I am going to have some more because I expect to be in there for a few hours, and I'll definitely be hungry when I leave. So I'm going to have a little bit more beef broth now on my way to this next casino, and then we'll see how it goes there. I am going to attempt to go to the casino that I was asked for ID from, and then I was told not to. Well, I wasn't told not to come back, but I was asked for ID and then told I'd have to leave if I didn't provide it, and I did not provide it. So I'm going to head over there today. I have an inkling of what might be the problem there, and that it might just be one person doing this. So I'm going to go after their shift ends and see if I have any trouble. So that's what's going on right now, and I'll be back to update you soon. All right, guys, I'm back. That was short and sweet and to the point. Definitely took me for a ride, but whew. So I walk in looking at slots. I find one play. I make like $30. I've only put in $5 cash of my own money, and I make like $30 there. And then I go to the blackjack area. I find a table, sit down playing one hand at $50 to two hands at $400. And first couple hands I do okay, and then I get this really dry spell. When I get there, I'm one of the first people to play at the table for the day, and that dealer gets tapped out. And I'm trying to think, did I have two dealers or three dealers? I think he just got tapped out, and I got a new dealer. And so the shift had just changed. It was the only blackjack table open that had good rules. So I'm sit down and I'm playing. And in the first shoe, I've already bought in for $4,000. And the count's continuing to go up, and I'm betting 100, 2 by 200, 2 by 300, 2 by 400, and the count keeps going up. Eventually I start pushing, win one, lose one, win one, push one. It's balancing out a little bit, and then I go on a nice little run toward the end of the shoe, and I end up ahead 1,200 at the end of the shoe. So I went from being down like 3,500, 3,600, somewhere in there, to being up 1,200 the last two decks of the shoe. So here's the way it went down. They cut it about 3/4 of a deck deep. So now I'm playing 5 1/4 decks out of 6. By the time that I do my last rebuy, there's about two decks remaining, and the count was a true 9. So I had a running 18 with 2 decks to go, and I go to my max bet. I did drop down to 2 by 300 one time when I saw the pit boss come back over, and there was one hand where I had a blackjack and a 20. When I got paid on the blackjack, I took all that money off before playing out the rest of the hand, just so it wouldn't be sitting out there, because the pit boss was still setting stuff up, and she'd come over every once in a while and look for a second and walk away. And by the time the shoe was over and she said color coming in, the pit boss goes, wow, I can't believe it, wow. Because she had seen I won like 2 hands at the beginning of the shoe, and then there was nothing after that. And then all of a sudden, toward the end of the shoe, the count kept climbing and climbing and climbing. I was still losing and losing, and then had a nice run at the end of the shoe. So I got up and walked away from there. It was only one shoe, so didn't play very long, but definitely got my max bet out there quickly. Then I looked at slots again, and I found another small play. I played that through. I think that was about it. And I ended up ahead 1,200 on the blackjack and plus 94 on the slots. So a nice little stop. Moving on to another place. This place is going to be slots only, most likely. All their tables are usually 8 deck, hit 17, 6 to 5. So probably not going to be playing here. It'll probably be a quick in and out. Just look at slot machines, take a brief look at blackjack, and leave. And that was my low fuel light coming on. So before I head anywhere after this, I'll have to stop and get some gas, and then we'll figure out what to do from there. So right now, so far so good. That happened so fast. I mean, it's some of those things are like, you know, you're down that much and you win that many in a row, and you're like looking over your shoulder every hand. Where's the pit boss? Okay, I'm gonna bet this much. Where's the pit boss? You know, and my last $1,000 buy-in, I did 500, 500, 500, 500. That's 2,000. Then I did two $1,000 buy-ins because the count was getting high. And those last two buy-ins, I'm like looking over my shoulder. Okay, the pit boss approved it, and I'm like playing with my chips, like pretending like I didn't know what I was gonna bet yet, and waited for her to walk away before actually placing my big bet that I was gonna do. So she was definitely shocked when I made it back that quickly, but that's how it happens, man. I mean, and there was one hand where I had 7-5, 7-5, true 9, 7-5, 7-5 on my two hands. And I ended up getting a 7 on both of them for a 19. And I know that's not good because the dealer has a face card. The dealer turns over a 4 and an 8. It's like, where are these face cards? And they did come out at the end. I think when I left, at the end of the shoe, it was a running 11. So, you know, we missed out on a lot. Another 10 more cards cut could have made a huge difference. But, you know, can't be too greedy, right? I mean, I do play as short as a half deck some places, but this was definitely a nice little gift. But I just think, you know, next hand, now I've got 3/4 of a deck to go with a running 11, and it's like, you know, max bet city. So anyway, letting you go right now. I'll be back. All right, guys, I'm back. Just got out of there. Could not find a single slot machine to play. Now, I did notice they made some changes here. So now they do have actually a Stay 17, but it's an 8 deck. And I did sit at that table. I was just actually standing around watching for a while. And the pit boss saw me. And he left the pit and he came over to talk to me. And he said, Joe, what's going on? I said, not much. He goes, are you going to play? I said, I don't know. And I said, I probably won't play unless that guy starts a new shoe. And he's like, I can have him break it. And he told him to break the shoe. And the guy was like surprised that he told him to do that because they don't do that. And then, so I bought in for 300 on a $25 table. Start getting ready to play. And this lady comes over, black lady, short black lady, gigantic afro, huge hair, and she's digging in her purse, gets $300 out. She's playing $25 on the hand and $25 on the side bet, and I'm hitting the side bet left and right, and she's missing every time, but she's winning hands, and the count's neutral the whole time. We get about a third of the way through the shoe, and they tap out the dealer. They bring in a new dealer, and he's supposed to be watching her. And she's mispaying. She's taking money when she's not supposed to. Every hand has an issue. About 4 hands into it, another guy comes to the table. We've got a negative running count. This dealer is slowing the game down so much. We've got 3 players on the table, so I just left. And really only got like 10 minutes on that table, and ended up leaving ahead $25. But it was just, it wasn't worth it. When you start calculating, if I'm spreading 25 to 200 on that table, and it's going that slow with 3 people and a dealer who doesn't understand payouts. There was a $300 payout, and she was paying $900 for it, and they had to keep explaining it to her. And then the lady next to me had a hand where she split 2 sevens, and she ends up with 2 doubles. She wins one hand, loses the other, and the dealer watching says, just push the hand. And she's trying to take the chips off the losing hand because it was the one closest to the end, and move it to the other hand, which is what you're supposed to do. And he said, oh no, just push it. And it's like, it took so long to explain it to her. I ended up explaining it to her, and I'm finally like, I'm out. So I go to cash out, I go to the cashier, and that black lady left just before me because she'd won a little bit. She was ahead like $350. And so she cashed out, and I talked to her while we were in line for a second. I cash out, and I'm leaving, and she comes over and starts talking to me. And she's telling me, like, her entire life story. And she tells me that how she feels like they're cheating now, and she specifically said dealers are getting like, they're getting like 7 aces in a row, and no matter what happens, you're going to end up losing that hand because you're going to end up taking one card. And she's telling me how things change, and since the shuffle machines, things have been different. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Yeah, I kind of agree, but nothing's been proven before. And I do like a hand shuffle, but it slows down the game. And she told me that before these shuffle machines, she had a session where she was down $8,000, and she was involved for $8,000, and she was down to her last 200, and she ran it up to $150,000. I'm like, come on. And she talked to me for a long time, and I believe her. I said, what were you betting? She said, well, the max was $5,000, but when they saw that I was winning, then they raised it because they thought they could get their money back from me, because I was betting the table limit every hand. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of sounds like the casino. If they have an opportunity, that they would take it. But so she said now what she does is, when she wins $300 or $400, she gets up and she leaves, and then she comes back and buys in again on another day. And I'm like, that's a pretty good idea for a regular player to do that and conserve your money and have more buy-ins for later instead of giving it back to them. So yeah, she had told me that she used to be up 2,000 or 3,000 and then not leave, and she would end up losing all of it, which is what everybody does. So anyway, I'm going to stop at this place here real quick, then I'm going to move on to another casino, and I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I'm back. So I'll probably see one now that I said I want to say this, but interestingly, other than the first place that I stopped, I have seen 0 slot hustlers. I don't know what's going on here, if they are doing something to curb it or what, but just keep that in mind here. And we'll see what happens here. I haven't seen a single one. Usually this place has so many. I'll be back. Alright guys, so I was thinking back, the pit boss at that last place came up to me and apologized for that new dealer being slow and all that kind of stuff, but I'm like, what are you going to do? That's the only table that was available, so nothing you could have done. So anyway, I moved on to another place and found some lower limit blackjack again, and played that for a little while, spreading from, it was going to be from 50 to 250, but never got any counts. And in fact, the count was so negative, I ended up leaving. Another guy came to the table and he's like, you've won like 4 hands in a row. I'm like, yeah, but it's a negative count, dum-dum. But anyway, that obviously I can't say that. But with it being that negative, I ended up leaving. And I said, he was kind of like upset that I was leaving. And I said, if you think that my hand is so lucky, I said, bet $50 on your hand and then put $500 where I would be betting, and you'll be rich. So he only had like 125. So he puts 50 on his hand and 50 on my hand. And he gets a blackjack on his, and I get an ace-9 on mine. No, he gets, yeah, I get an ace-9 on mine. The dealer has a face card and ends up with a 21, so I would have lost that hand. But anyway, I still ended up leaving okay. I was ahead $625 on that table. I did play some slots, and I noticed there was no people checking slots. I did finally see one guy, skinny, older, white guy, checking, and then I saw two guys that I suspect are also checking machines, but they were not at that point. They were just talking. So I don't know, maybe they cleaned up a little bit in here. I know a big group of people came in here recently and were tearing the place up, so as far as hustling. So we ended up ahead $625 on the blackjack and $4 on the slots. And right now I'm considering going to this other place. I'm still trying to test this place to see what happens, but I have a feeling that security leaves at 2:30, and it's not quite 2:30 yet, because I was at a different location, same company, at 10:30 p.m., and it seemed like they were just coming in. So 10:30 would mean they went till 6:30 in the morning, and then 6:30 in the morning would mean 2:30 in the afternoon. Now the person that I'm worried about, I believe, leaves at 11, so he'd already be gone. But there's now been two different security guards who have asked me for my ID, and so now I'm worried that if it's one of them at the door, I might have an issue. I don't want to really wait around for another hour doing nothing. I think I need to go for it, see what happens. I think I might be pushing it a little bit without covering my plates. I don't know. All right, guys, I am back. I went into that place, and the first thing I was worried about was license plate readers. And if I'd gotten caught because of my plates, it would have been my fault because I did nothing about it. The problem is I'd have to park off-site and pay for parking and then walk. And so I decided to just go ahead and park in the parking lot. I still feel like my friend who told me about some people who have had this happen thinks that it's a certain person and they're off at a certain time. And so I thought, okay, he would be off by now, and let's give it a try. So now the next focus was, if that guy is off, what time does security leave? And I determined that it's probably not for a while. So because of that, I had to worry about two security guards that might be here at the same time that I'm here. So they have 1, 2, 3 or more entrances. So I figured if I see who the security guard is, I could always turn around before walking up there and try a different entrance. The problem is they rotate every 20 minutes or 30 minutes, so I need to make sure that I'm in the right place at the right time, or not in the right place at the right time. So I end up walking in the main entrance from the parking garage. They have two cameras, our facial recognition cameras there, and I kind of covered my face with the phone like I was talking on the phone and got through no problem. Younger guy was a security guard. I get in there, and now I'm like, okay, I'm here. Now let's go ahead and try to use my player's card and see if there's a problem. So I put in the player's card. I had a few dollars in free play. I played it through, and I ended up ahead $34 on slots. That's really not important. Okay, so I got through there. Now, let's try to run it through a kiosk and see if there's a problem. I swiped it in a kiosk, logged in, no problem, looked at my stuff, and then sat around, walked around without going to blackjack just to see what would happen. Nothing happens. Okay, well, let's give blackjack a shot. So I took a direct way. There's multiple ways to get to the blackjack area. I took the way that would run me by the least number of people just in case, because there's so many stages to this. So I went the direct route, the shortest route that I see the least number of people. I get to the blackjack area, and the dealer that's there is a nice guy. We're very friendly, and he like waved to me, and he was excited to see me. I'm like, great, all right. It's going to be a $50 table. That's fine, but I was worried because this has happened twice already. That I was going to buy in, they were going to hold my money or say something or threaten or whatever. So I kind of put my hand over my face. The pit boss was on the other side of the pit. And one thing to remember is some of the bigger casinos, including one that I went to earlier today, if the buy-in is $300 or less, they're allowed not to call it out, which is very interesting. So you can actually play a $50 or $25 table, buy in for $300 5 or 6 times, and they're never going to call it out. And then when the pit boss comes over, they tell them how much the total is. So that's a good thing to know if your location does that. So I bought in for $300, played that, lost it. Dealers changed. I got a less friendly dealer, older black lady. She's nice, but very, very down to business. Her hands were cold. She kept dropping the cards, and her fingernails were long, so she had a hard time dealing. And then the count went to like minus 12 or 13, and it was still early on in the shoe. I was losing pretty much every hand, and I had bought in for a total of $700 at this point, and I had $200 left. So I switched tables and went to the other table and started playing there, and things weren't going much better there. I was involved for as much as $1,300 total, and my big fear here was, okay, they're going to come back me off, and I'm down. I know I shouldn't even worry about that, but if they're going to back me off, I want to like just get a little bit more from them. You know what I mean? Just give me another couple of bucks off these people if they're going to back me off. So anyway, the one pit boss was on break. The other pit boss was in the other pit. And the third pit boss was setting up a craps table for a high roller that was coming in. So I got very little resistance. I bought in for a total of $1,300, like I said. And then the one pit boss came over, put it all in the system. I think they only had me in for like less than $1,000 because it was so crazy going on back there. And I ended up coloring up at the end of a shoe plus $450. So now I've got $1,750 in chips, which is below their threshold, no issues, and I go to the cashier. Well, there's 2 people at the cashier desk. One of them saw me getting walked out last time by the security guard. So I had to come up with something real quick before he asked or before he was suspicious. So I saw him. I said, hey, how's it going? He's like, all right. He goes, everything all right? I said, yeah. I said, can you believe they asked me for my ID to check my age last time I was here? They said, well, how'd you know that? I said, I asked them when they were walking me out, and the guy told me that he didn't have to tell me, keyword there because they know that, he didn't have to tell me, but he was checking for my age. And they're like, what? That's crazy. And I said, you know what, Bob? If he does it to me again, I'm leaving again. I'm never giving him my ID. If he had been nice to me in the first place, I would have given it to him, and there would have been no problem. And he's like, I don't blame you. I'm like, yeah, let's go, baby. So I cashed out the $450 profit, cashed out the whole thing, and I ended up leaving. So no issues at all. So now that I've tested all these different ways, I'm 99% sure that it's this one guy, and I don't know what his schedule is as far as days, but I think I know time-wise what the schedule is. And right now I only have to avoid 2 different security guards. One of them may not even remember at this point, but the other one definitely would because it was recent enough. And I think I'm okay to play there. So I'm just gonna have to just take it slow, one step at a time, go in there at the right time, and just be cool about it. And you know, I remember when you're young and you're too young to get through to gamble, people would always say, walk in like you owned the joint. And that's true. When you walk in with confidence, then really you're going to get less suspicion, less problems. Another thing that I learned is if you don't look people in the eye, it actually helps. Now, security is different. When you're walking in and security's at the door, it's different. But when there's a pit boss or someone else walking down the aisle, did you know that they don't really remember you if you don't look right in their face? Because that's when their eyes lock with your eyes and you're more memorable that way. So it's less likely that you'll be remembered if you're looking away or you're looking at your phone or something like that. Because people in a situation like that where there's a lot of people around have enough, their brain has enough going on, avoiding people so they're not running into them, and looking at machines and figuring out their money situation and what's going on at home. They have so much on their mind that they don't have time to analyze every single person, right? So if you are busy with something else, you're less likely to be memorable. Just something that I thought would help. And you know, for my young friends who have asked recently about making themselves look older, I suggest wearing white tube socks. That helps. With shorts, cargo shorts, maybe getting a little bit of that gel that makes you look gray, you know, some of that spray gray stuff, or that there's all kinds of things like that that you could do. And then like basically dress like an old guy, right? Old guys dress with like these cargo shorts and tube socks with the old man shirt tucked in, right, instead of a t-shirt and stuff like that. So anyway, gonna let you go right now, and I'm moving on to the next spot. Okay guys, I am back. So I go into this place and I find very little, very little. How little, might you ask? I found nothing. So I walk around this place, machine to machine to machine, and there's nothing. I only see one advantage player here. It really makes me wonder what happened today, especially to the advantage players in that other area that I was. I have no idea. I don't know if they just weren't awake yet or what, but I'm not used to seeing this few. So something's got to be going on. I'm sure I'll get the lowdown from somebody later. So right now, let me see here. Okay, so right now I'm heading toward home. Let's do our little segments. I forget to do them sometimes. What did you eat today, MW? Well, I had about 64 ounces of beef broth. That's about it. Maybe less than that. Maybe 16, maybe 32 ounces. 32 ounces of beef broth. And so that's probably a couple hundred calories at the most. And that's all that I had. And actually, at this place I had free food, so I got a couple cookies and a couple drinks, and I'll just take them home if someone wants them. If not, then maybe in a few days I might eat them. But right now, by the way, on a scale of 2 through ace, the taste, I would give it probably a 10. It really was not bad, and I could see myself enjoying that. My wife put them in some nice thermoses, and they were still warm, steamy, and everything, and they were fine. And then, what did you tip today, MW? I mean, we made about $2,500 today. Surely you must have tipped a fortune. Yes, I did. I tipped 0.0. No tips for anybody. Get out of my face. Go get a real job. I did not tip anyone anything today. No waitresses, no dealers, no anybody. So, nice day today. Made some decent money. You know, I'm changing the way that I'm playing slowly, and I've been cutting out the one place that I was worried about, and it seems to be working, and we're heading in the right direction. I am working on something for that place. I can't really describe it yet, but after it's over, I will tell you what I did and how I did it, and we can discuss, and we can review, and we can analyze. But I will be doing something with that place, and if something fishy is going on, I will expose it. So right now it is 82 degrees, and I am heading toward home. one of my kids has a game about an hour further away from home. My wife is heading to that, so she told me, hey, I'm going to be in the car for a while if you want to talk. So I'm going to give her a call right now. And I did talk to my friend Coach via text today, and we're going to see if we can set up our Vegas trips together. And there's still at least one other trip I want to take as well. So we'll get all that sorted out soon. For now, I'm going to let you go. If you have any questions or comments, the email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.